During what was meant to be a peaceful family vacation in Mexico, Hollywood legend Richard Gere faced a terrifying health scare that would change everything. What seemed like a minor illness quickly turned into a life-threatening condition. As news of his condition spread, fans were left deeply concerned, but no one was more affected than his wife, Alejandra Silva, who was visibly moved to tears. What life-threatening diagnosis is this, and why did it leave Gere's wife in tears? Join us as we uncover the full details about Richard Gere's tragic diagnosis. The early years of Richard Gere. Richard Gere was born on August 31, 1949 in Philadelphia, to Doris Ann and Homer George Gere. Doris took care of the children while Homer worked as an insurance agent. Homer had wanted to be a minister before becoming an insurance agent, but the family still had strong religious beliefs and raised Richard in the Methodist faith. The Gere family eventually made their home in Syracuse, New York, where Richard spent most of his childhood. His family had a long and interesting history. Richard's great-grandfather on his father's side changed the family name from Gere to Gere, showing a desire for a fresh start. Growing up in a quiet town in New York, Richard had a strong sense of family legacy. Richard has been exceptional since he was young. While attending North Syracuse Central High School, he excelled in both sports and music. He focused a lot on gymnastics and trained diligently, earning admiration for his abilities. Alongside this, he also developed a fondness for music and became proficient in playing the trumpet. His love for sports and art coexisted, revealing early signs of the emotional depth and physical discipline that would shape his future acting career. In 1967, Richard's dedication to gymnastics helped him earn a scholarship to the University of Massachusetts Amherst, a huge accomplishment considering his humble origins. He decided to pursue philosophy at college, which aligned with his contemplative demeanor and inquisitive spirit. However, he soon realized academia was not his true calling. After spending 2 years at the university, Richard made a pivotal choice to leave without completing his degree, embarking on a journey with an uncertain future. This decision, however, created a path which would eventually change his life forever. The rise to global fame. Richard Gere became famous through hard work and determination, gradually building a reputation for his exceptional talent through various performances. He did not finish college, but instead pursued acting in 1969 by starting out in theaters like the Seattle Repertory Theater and the Provincetown Playhouse in Cape Cod. His debut was in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, marking the start of his journey to success. In 1971, Gere landed his first big role in a Broadway rock opera called Soon. The show, created by Scott Fagan and Joe Kukulis, debuted at the Ritz Theater. Despite closing after only 3 shows, it gave Gere valuable experience on a larger stage. 2 years later, he starred in the original London production of Grease in 1973, which brought him more recognition. In 1979, he impressed audiences with his performance in Bent, a Broadway play about a gay Holocaust victim. His portrayal was daring for the time and earned him a Theatre World Award, showcasing his reputation as a serious and courageous actor. Gere began acting in Hollywood movies in the 1970s. He was given a part in The Lords of Flatbush in 1974, but later got replaced due to a disagreement with co-star Sylvester Stallone. However, he continued to work hard. He had a small yet memorable role in Looking for Mr. Goodbar in 1977 and received more acclaim for his acting in Days of Heaven, a 1978 movie directed by Terrence Malick. In 1980, everything changed for Richard Gere when American Gigolo was released. This stylish crime drama brought Gere into the limelight with his distinctive appearance and impressive acting skills, impressing both audiences and critics. Just 2 years later, he appeared in An Officer and a Gentleman with Deborah Winger. The movie was a major hit, earning almost $130 million and receiving 2 Oscars. Gere's performance in the film also earned him a Golden Globe nomination, cementing his status as one of Hollywood's leading actors. During the 1980s, Richard Gere had varying levels of success in his career, but he continued to work. In 1990, he made a comeback with the popular movies Internal Affairs and Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman, in which he starred alongside Julia Roberts, became a highly cherished romantic comedy and earned him a Golden Globe nomination. Gere and Roberts had excellent on-screen chemistry, and the film helped make him a well-known name in households. The 1990s were a successful decade for him. He gained popularity for his roles in movies like Summersby, 1993, with Jodie Foster, and Primal Fear, 1996, a legal thriller where he delivered a strong performance. In 1999, he worked again with Julia Roberts in Runaway Bride. That year, he also played a tough character in The Jackal, where he portrayed a former IRA militant and added authenticity to the role by using an Irish accent. At the end of the 1990s, Gere became even more popular when he was named the most attractive man alive by People magazine in 1999. Both his charm and career were doing well. In 2002, he appeared in 3 major movies: The Mothman Prophecies, Unfaithful, and Chicago. In Chicago, a musical film, he got to showcase new talents. To play the role of Billy Flynn, a smooth lawyer, he practiced tap dancing for months. The movie was successful and won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Gere earned his first Golden Globe for his performance, with critics praising his transformation and range. In 2004, he released Shall We Dance, a movie about ballroom dancing that was very popular and made $170 million. However, not all of his projects were successful. For example, Bee Season, a movie based on a book, did not resonate with audiences of 2005. Despite this, he continued working. In 2007, he acted in The Hunting Party with Jesse Eisenberg and Terrence Howard, portraying a journalist reporting on war crimes in Bosnia. That same year, he played one of 6 portrayals of Bob Dylan in I'm Not There, sharing the screen with Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, and Cate Blanchett. In 2008, Gere was in a movie called Nights in Rodanthe, where he acted alongside Diane Lane. Although critics did not give it good reviews and it was considered one of the worst movies of the year, it still made over $84 million globally. This movie was the last one fully supported by a big movie studio for Gere, showing a change in his career direction. Later, Gere shared that his strong opinions about China and Tibet caused him to lose popularity in Hollywood. His public backing for Tibet and the Dalai Lama did not go over well with movie executives, especially as China became a key player in the film industry. Despite this, Gere was okay with the shift. He started working on independent films, which received positive feedback from critics. In 2012, he received praise for his performance in the movie Arbitrage, where he portrayed a character named Robert Miller, who is a troubled businessman. Critics hailed it as one of his best performances ever, and he was nominated for his 4th Golden Globe. Additionally, he was given the Golden Starfish Award for Lifetime Achievement by the Hamptons International Film Festival, and received the Career Achievement Award from the Hollywood Film Awards. In 2010, the Cairo International Film Festival had also acknowledged his lifetime contributions to film. In 2016, Gere amazed fans with his role in the political drama Norman. He portrayed a Jewish fixer named Norman Oppenheimer, which was a departure from his usual roles. The character showcased a new aspect of Gere, showing him as quirky, vulnerable, and relatable. Critics raved about his performance, labeling it as one of his most captivating roles, and even proposing he should be considered for an Oscar nomination. Apart from his acting career, Gere also has musical talent. He wrote and played the piano theme in Pretty Woman and played guitar in Runaway Bride. He took tap dancing lessons for his role in Chicago and also took karate lessons for An Officer and a Gentleman. Gere has had a successful career, but he has never been nominated for an Academy Award. Despite his talent, some critics believe he is one of the best actors who has never been recognized by the Oscars. He did more than just work in movies. In 1995, he was the head of the panel of judges at the 19th Moscow International Film Festival. The Albanian president recognized him in 2012 with the Medal of Gratitude for his work in bringing attention to the ethnic cleansing in Kosovo in 1999. Also in 2012, he was given the George Eastman Award for his work in the film industry. Gere is calm, spiritual, and reflective when he's not in the spotlight. He became interested in Buddhism when he was in his 20s and learned about Zen Buddhism from Kyozan Joshu Sasaki. He traveled to Nepal and India in 1978, where he had the opportunity to meet the 14th Dalai Lama. This experience led him to embrace Tibetan Buddhism and become a devoted supporter of Tibetan rights. Gere did not just use his celebrity status for fun, he also used it to advocate for human rights, Tibet, and AIDS awareness. Unfortunately, this led to him being blacklisted in Hollywood, especially by studios that depend on the Chinese market. Despite the consequences, Gere never gave up. He continued to use his voice, both in his acting roles and in his personal life, to stay true to himself. However, amidst his amazing career and achievements, there were struggles behind the scenes, one that threatened to end his career sooner than expected. Outspoken and unapologetic nature, controversies that made headlines. During his early career in acting, Richard Gere was known for bringing complex characters to life. His big break came with American Gigolo, where he showed he could lead a film with his talent. Gere's calm intensity and strong presence on screen quickly made him a leading actor. However, this success came with a downside. Hollywood typecast him as the attractive, admirable man with a dark side. Gere grew tired of being offered the same roles over and over again. He did not want to be stuck in this image and wanted to show he was capable of more than just playing romantic or mysterious characters. Gere made a deliberate choice to pursue roles that were diverse and challenging, pushing himself to improve as an actor. As the 2000s approached, the film industry started to change, and Richard Gere's popularity in mainstream movies began to decline. People still remembered him from movies like Pretty Woman, but new trends and faces were becoming more popular. Some wondered why he wasn't in big hit movies anymore. One major reason was his strong political beliefs. Gere was outspoken about global issues, especially human rights in Tibet. His close relationship with the Dalai Lama and support for Tibetan freedom was well known. During a time when Hollywood was making stronger connections with China, Gere's views put him in a tough spot. Studios were worried about losing access to Chinese moviegoers, so they started avoiding actors who could cause political problems. Gere was one of those actors. In 1993, there was a significant moment when Richard Gere gave a speech at the Academy Awards. Instead of following the planned script, he used his time on stage to talk about human rights violations in China. He specifically brought up Tibet, a topic that he cared deeply about. Although his speech was bold and emotional, not everyone liked it. Hollywood, which usually wanted celebrities to remain neutral in public, reacted strongly. As a result, Gere was not allowed to attend future Academy Award ceremonies. This decision changed the way he was perceived in the entertainment industry. It sent a clear message that speaking out could have negative consequences. When big roles in major studios became hard to find, Gere started focusing on independent films instead. Unlike big Hollywood movies, these smaller projects gave him the opportunity to pick roles based on the story rather than commercial success. He liked the freedom that came with it. Independent films allowed him to portray complex and authentic characters. Two movies that showcased his talent in independent films were Arbitrage and Norman, which received positive reviews from critics. These roles demonstrated that Richard Gere still had the skill and commitment, even though he was not as prominent in Hollywood anymore. Gere's personal life received a lot of attention, aside from his acting career. People were particularly interested in his relationship with Alejandra Silva, who was significantly younger than him. Even though age gaps are usual in the world of celebrities, their marriage was constantly under scrutiny. The media dissected every aspect of their relationship, turning their private life into a topic for public discussion. Gere was once again reminded that being a public figure meant that very little of his life remained truly private. Despite facing many changes and difficulties, Gere remained steadfast in his convictions. He never shied away from expressing his views on important issues like Tibet, the Iraq War, and human rights. Instead, he used his influence to bring attention to these causes. This set him apart in Hollywood as someone who was unwilling to stay silent in order to conform. While his outspokenness may have led to missed opportunities, it also garnered him admiration from those who appreciate integrity and bravery. Richard Gere's romantic journey. Richard Gere experienced various emotions in his romantic relationships, including love, sadness, and eventual contentment. Throughout his life, he had relationships with actresses, models, artists, and activists. Each phase in his personal life showed his evolving interests, growth, and strong desire for meaningful connections that aligned with his thoughtful and spiritual personality. In the early 1970s, Gere started dating actress Penelope Milford. They were together on and off for about 7 years, from 1971 to 1978. During this time, Gere was still establishing himself in Hollywood. As his career took off, his personal life also became more public. Following his breakup with Milford, Gere began a long-term relationship with Brazilian painter Sylvia Martins, which lasted from 1978 to 1986. Their romance stayed out of the public eye, away from the Hollywood spotlight. Despite eventually breaking up, they remained important parts of each other's lives. Throughout this time, Gere was romantically linked to various women including Tuesday Weld, Carol Mallory, Dawn Steele, Lori Rodkin, Barbara Carrera, and even Barbra Streisand. Although these relationships were sometimes brief, they contributed to his image as a charismatic and appealing figure in the entertainment world. Some books even suggested that he had romantic entanglements with Priscilla Presley and Kim Basinger. Whether these rumors were accurate or not, they only served to enhance his mysterious public persona. Richard Gere was connected to the fashion and beauty industry through his relationships with famous models like Laura Bailey, Tina Chow, Dalila Di Lazzaro, and Padma Lakshmi. Despite their diverse backgrounds, these women and Gere shared a passion for art, culture, and beauty. Their connections were built on common values, creativity, and a love for mindful living, rather than just superficial appearances. In 1991, Gere tied the knot with Cindy Crawford, who was a popular supermodel. Their marriage was a big deal in the media. They were seen as a very stylish couple, appearing together at big events and influencing trends. But being in the spotlight, having an age gap, and busy schedules made it difficult to keep their relationship strong. They eventually separated in 1995, marking the end of their well-known marriage. After finishing this part of his life, Gere found a stronger sense of stability with model and actress Carrie Lowell. They tied the knot in November 2002, but their journey together had started many years before that. In February 2000, they became parents to their son Homer James Jigme Gere. They chose this name to honor their father's and Gere's ties to Tibetan culture. Their family life appeared peaceful and filled with love as they enjoyed raising their child together. By September 2013, it was evident that there were problems in Gere and Lowell's marriage. After being married for 11 years, they decided to separate. The divorce proceedings were complicated and lasted for 3 years in court. The process was often described as tense and hard. In October 2016, the divorce was officially completed, putting an end to their once promising and loving relationship. Despite facing numerous emotional upheavals, Gere made the decision to remain optimistic and continue moving forward. In April 2018, he tied the knot once again, this time with Alejandra Silva, a Spanish publicist and activist. Their partnership was unique as Alejandra, who is younger than Gere, also prioritized humanitarian work and spiritual development. Their connection was based on values like kindness, tranquility, and a joint dedication to making a positive impact in the world. In August 2018, the couple shared that they were going to have their first baby. Their son was born in February 2019, and another son arrived in April 2020. They built a peaceful and happy life focused on family. Gere spent his time between New York and Spain, away from the loud lifestyle of Hollywood. With Alejandra and their kids, he discovered a different kind of joy that wasn't tied to being famous or looking a certain way. His time was mostly spent on being a dad, practicing meditation, and doing charitable work. Alejandra frequently compliments him as a very caring and giving person, someone who influenced their family's life with his kindness. Gere viewed love differently now. It was not just about romantic feelings, but also about promoting peace, maintaining harmony, and living a life based on important values. Not long after finding love at last, tragedy struck, and this time, it wasn't about his career, rather, it was his health. The shocking diagnosis, Richard Gere's unexpected health scare. In the beginning of 2023, Richard Gere was relaxing away from the public eye. He had gone on a vacation with his family to Nuevo Vallarta, a pretty coastal town in Mexico. This trip was a nice break for the experienced actor, who had been concentrating on being a dad, doing humanitarian work, and enjoying a quiet family life with his wife, Alejandra Silva, and their young kids. But unfortunately, this family vacation quickly became a scary and emotional experience. While in Mexico, Gere started to feel sick. He initially only had a cough and felt tired. He thought it was just a minor cold or irritation from traveling, like many people do. But his cough did not improve, it got worse. He started to feel more tired and developed a fever. Over time, his breathing became more difficult. It was no longer something he could ignore. Alejandra was worried about him, so she urged him to go see a doctor. By the time they got to the hospital, his health had gotten much worse. The doctors at the hospital said that Richard Gere had pneumonia, which had gotten bad enough to require him to stay in the hospital. This news was very upsetting for the family. Pneumonia is a serious illness, especially for someone in their 70s. Gere stayed in the hospital being closely monitored. He was given antibiotics and help with breathing to make it easier. Although dealing with pneumonia was tough, the doctors discovered something more concerning during their investigations. Tests during his treatment showed that his illness might not have been a one-time infection. His slow recovery and ongoing respiratory problems raised concerns. Medical personnel supposedly performed more tests. Even though the results were not shared with the public, it was suggested that they indicated a more serious, potentially long-term health issue. Speculation arose among his inner circle that the diagnosis might be related to a respiratory or autoimmune disorder. These conditions can be erratic and persist for a lifetime. The family, who values their privacy, decided not to reveal specific information. Nonetheless, worrying signs were evident to those closest to Gere. Alejandra, usually calm in public, was seen crying during this tough time. She seemed worried and scared about what this diagnosis could mean for her husband. Friends of the family said the mood was tense and emotional. Everyone was worried that this could be more serious than just pneumonia. Despite being discharged and appearing to have completely overcome the pneumonia, those close to him were aware that the situation was not resolved. The doctor's diagnosis indicated an ongoing issue that would need to be monitored and managed for the long term. This revelation, whether it was a pre-existing condition or a new development, caused his family to reconsider his overall health. During this time, Gere did not make many public appearances. Instead, he concentrated on taking it easy and being with Alejandra and their kids. Family came first for him, and their quiet life in Spain and New York became a comforting place for healing and thinking. Without the pressure of being in the spotlight, Gere focused on himself, trying to figure out how this new phase would affect his well-being and his loved ones. The story becomes more complex when we think about how it affected Alejandra emotionally. Those who saw her said she seemed upset, having a hard time dealing with the fear and not knowing what would happen. She had always admired Gere for his strength and kindness, but now she had to be the one to support him. The situation had changed, and it was emotionally difficult for her. The exact details of the diagnosis were not disclosed, but it was evident that a change had occurred. The scare served as a reminder to the family about the delicate nature of health, even for someone who seemed healthy and energetic. This experience brought them closer together and increased the significance of each day. Gere, who had always valued mindfulness and spiritual equilibrium, now had an additional reason to appreciate moments of peace and tranquility. His health issues led to public conversations about his lifestyle and diet. He has been known as a famous vegetarian for years, aligning with his support for animal rights and Buddhist beliefs. However, recent reports have raised doubts about whether he still strictly follows a vegetarian diet. The discussion about his eating habits, while not the main focus of his illness, raised questions about how lifestyle choices affect long-term health. However, Gere's main concern was not how others saw him, but rather focusing on getting better and being there for his family. Alejandra's updates over time helped calm the public's worries. She informed everyone that Richard was fully recovered from pneumonia, and her messages were optimistic, reassuring fans of his well-being. However, those closest to Richard were quietly aware that a more serious health issue still existed. Alejandra's emotional struggle amidst her husband's diagnosis. Alejandra is known for being composed and private. Instead of talking about her experience publicly, she shared a short but meaningful message on social media that said, "Love heals all things." This post showed her inner strength and emotional connection to her husband. Despite appearing calm on the outside, those close to her said she was deeply shaken. They mentioned she was devastated, but staying strong for her kids, keeping her composure to protect them from the full impact of the situation. Alejandra was a strong support for Richard during his treatment and recovery. She took care of their kids, stayed with Richard, and handled the emotional strain with grace. Their loved ones noticed how she never left his side, even when the future seemed unclear. Fans on social media sent prayers and messages as updates on Richard's health came out. The public's love did not go unnoticed. Although Alejandra did not give interviews, she acknowledged the support through her charity foundation's channels. During Richard's healing process, his loved ones gathered around him to provide emotional support and assistance with everyday tasks. This group effort had a positive impact, relieving some of the stress on Alejandra. Despite this support, she continued to prioritize Richard's health and their children's welfare. There were instances when she was seen crying, particularly in private, but she always displayed a strong front for her family. As time went on, Richard started to feel better. Alejandra gave a positive update, mentioning that he was slowly getting better. This news relieved fans who were worried about him. Richard is now receiving care at home, and he and Alejandra have decided to live a quieter life. They split their time between Spain and New York, enjoying a more private life away from the attention of Hollywood. Throughout everything that has happened, Alejandra has been a symbol of staying strong in a quiet way. Her dedication to her family, her ability to handle public attention gracefully, and her consistent support for her husband are truly remarkable. Despite facing fear and uncertainty in this chapter of their lives, it has also showcased the strong connection between them. This situation has demonstrated to everyone the silent but impactful influence of love, patience, and inner strength that Alejandra carries with grace.